Okay, so I thought I'd take my lunch break and work on this deal for the HVAC here. Had a buddy of mine bend me up a bunch of 90s and 2-inch. Cut the holes here in this plate. I still need to trim the corners. I'll show you what it's going to look like. Alright, so this is basically what it's going to do. I mean, obviously I need to do a little more trimming on them. I need to get them as low as I possibly can. And I need to make sure the bottom is about as flat as it can be. They'll get tacked into position, and then I'll probably just use seam sealer to seal them. But like I said, this is basically how they're going to be. These are the defrost, and these are all the dash ducts, and I staggered them like that because obviously I didn't want them running into each other or have to angle them too much. But that should hopefully work. I may have to turn them out a little bit to get these ones flat, otherwise they'll run into that bar. But we'll see, and it may end up being too damn tall for the body anyway, but I don't know. Like I said, there's still a bunch of work that needs to get done before this even can get tack welded, you know. But that's my thought. It's a plan of sorts, and we'll see what happens to it. Back on it. Tuesday. This time change is really messing me up. I mean, as you can see, I got about an hour's worth of daylight left, and I'm just getting started. I had to go vote today. Hopefully all the rest of you guys did. At least the rest of you guys here in the States. So I need to bring everything to a screeching halt and stop. I need to lift it back up, and I need to get in there and grind down all the paint and rust everywhere where anything's going to be welded. I need to get all that cleaned up, and then I can drop it back down, because I'm not going to be able to get to it after that. Plus, I need to find my weld through spray. So once I get it stripped, spray it with that stuff, and then that way when I get everything positioned, I can start welding like immediately. So that's where we're at right now. I don't think that's going to work, but I'm not going to mess with it right now. I'll mess with it after I get this other job done. So that's probably going to take up the next 2 days. Everything is wet because it rained all, well, you guys call it a weekend. I call it a week because I work during the weekends. Anyway, it rained. It rained and rained. We're supposed to get rain again on Thursday, so that means I've got what's left of today, I've got tomorrow, and maybe Thursday morning to get some of the stuff done. So, like I said, I'm going to stop everything and start working on this right now. And hopefully by the time I get done, I'll have most of everything ground down. I can throw some of the spray down. And then tomorrow I'll finish that up and then get back on the trimming and get that stuff done. Okay, so I didn't get a whole lot done yesterday. And I'm getting a late start today, even though I started early, because we just finally got the gas meter placed and gas turned on at our house. Remember, this is our house. This is a rental. But I digress. So I did get some sanding done. I need to get the body lifted back off of this thing, though, and that's where I'm having the difficulty. I think I need to drag my cherry picker over here and pick it up by that hook. I think might work the best. I don't know, but I'm gonna get on that. Well, it's a bit dark, but this is where we're at. I had to get up in there and do some more trimming on that fender well and that lip, the pinch weld lip, where I thought was trimmed enough. I had to trim it a little bit more and kind of knock it down. But this side is pretty damn close. This side, not so much. I think I need to get up in there and basically do the same thing. But one thing that's really holding me up is the corner here. See that corner? I need to get inside here can trim somehow. Get that done. Looks like that came out okay. I may trim that edge right there. So over there on that side, I need to do the same thing. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, but it doesn't look like it's going to rain till 6 or so. So I need to get up early. Hopefully get whatever errands I got to get done. And then get started.
Hey. I don't know what that means.
So this is almost down where it needs to be. It needs to come down about a ½ inch. But already we've got, you see there, it's a little high in the front. So, that being high in the front means I'm going to have to do something with this. I don't know. Maybe not. Okay. So we got this cut out. Now, as you can see, I lost the hinges. We're going to have to do something different with the hinges. You can see there how much I cut off. I got to finish trimming this side. One thing too, it looks like this is farther over. I did notice here. That's off. And this side looks like it's on, but this side's so bent up, there's no telling. So, yeah, I think it just needs to, I don't know. Maybe it needs to come out. I don't know. Anyway, we're so close. So very, very close. And then as far as this thing coming in like it's supposed to, I don't know what's really holding it up. It's not hitting down here. So yeah, I don't know. I don't see any points of contact. There's one thing I saw right here, or felt anyway. There's a little deal there, which I could probably dimple the Honda rocker and make it clear, but it's just after 6 o'clock. It's already dark. So I'm gonna quit making noise. I'm just gonna leave it the way it sits, and then tomorrow I'll get back on it. Yeah, hopefully tomorrow before rain, I'll have it sitting where it's supposed to sit, and I'll probably leave it, as much as I'm gonna want to start welding it, I'll leave it and then make damn sure I've got everything. Since the front is down roughly, well, that side's up about an inch or so. This side's down just about where I want it. You'll see the clearance here. Now that lip can get trimmed some, not a whole lot, but it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be tight, 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 tight. We will see. I think we can make it happen though. Yep, see, all of this stuff is super tight. That'll be easy right there. Just put a piece of metal in. Yeah, all around here. See, that's touching right there. Oh. Yeah, it's too much fender for me to be able to see. I may actually get in there and hit that with a saw, just enough to drop it down that one little bit. Whew. Yeah, there's going to be some more fabrication done because that inner rocker on the Rambler isn't in great shape. I'll have to bend up a piece of sheet metal and put a little bend on the end of it. See, that is almost there. Oh hell, I was looking at the wrong thing. This side's too low. Yeah. So we'll have to get creative. Yeah, see, that needs to come out. I don't want to cut too far up there because I don't want to cut into that pinch there. See, that's not touching anywhere. Yep, these back corners need to get done. I think that's what's holding us up. You can see where the tire is in the fender well. It's a little too far back, but just gonna have to live with it. Eventually, I'll probably maybe cut along here and then add a strip of metal in and bring this back. But for now, that's what I did. I took that much out of the inner fender and I'll put a piece of metal inside. I'll cut this corner off here. But you can see right there, that is hitting. So we'll get in there and cut that. And I think once that's done, it'll drop quite a bit. I'm probably gonna have to cut here up. Yeah, I'll have to cut there. Because when it drops, it'll be sitting right on that. So we'll just bring it out here to this area. And eventually it'll all get covered. This is just gonna get cut off. This corner here, I knew it was gonna have to get cut off. About from there to about there. I do it right now, but it's too late. Too much noise. I'll bend that back out. Yeah, it needs to go that way anyhow. God, we're so close. We are so close. Yeah, there's that. Whatever it is. Here we are. It is going to rain tonight, and I got work this weekend, so I'm not going to get a whole lot done. But I worked on this thing last night with flashlights, so that's pretty ugly. But eventually this is all going to get plated. Brought it all the way to the edge. And yeah, I think it needs, the body of the car needs to go over that way anyway. But so we're sitting right on there. That is an issue. It's not a huge insurmountable issue, but it is an issue. It needs to be taken care of, and it's the same way on the other side, right there. So, and then you can see up there, I got all that squared away, and this part of the pinch weld here is hitting. And I don't really have anything to use as an example. I wanted to cut all that pinch weld out, but the problem was the way Honda did it, you got the inner half here and then the outer half, and then it's, you got two lips, and then they're spot welded together, you know, the whole way up. But the problem is the spot welds are way out, and then the rest of it's just filled with seam sealer. So to cut any significant amount of it off, you'd cut the spot welds off, and then there'd be nothing holding those two halves together. Plus, and I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll just take a hammer and beat it down flat. Well, then that would break all that sealer. And I really don't want to build new inner fender wells. And so then there's a question too, is like, well, why didn't I just use the Rambler ones and cut all this out? Well, this is a major structural part. This is where the strut sits. It's tied to the frame, but it's also tied to the rest of that. And so even what I've cut off could affect that. I don't know. So I want to cut off the absolute minimum amount. And the other thing too is water. So water gets behind this. It's going to leak into the inside. It's going to leak down to where all the welds are. It's going to rust. So this needs to be completely isolated from basically the Rambler body, completely sealed off. Even though the original Rambler, this was open, it just had that little plate there. And, you know, back here had that plate. But other than that, this was completely open because the inside part was sealed. So I need to try to replicate that as much as possible. I mean, hell, I could press this over and just weld it. Probably, but I'm not going to even try. So I need to get in here and cut that off. Probably to right there. I need to go check on the other side. Get that cut off. And I need to, ooh, excuse me. I need to get in there and cut this corner. Although I don't think it's really hitting anymore on this side. The other side is pretty bad though. So I'm gonna go ahead and just try to see if I can't get on there and hit it with a hammer and bend it up. If I can, then that'll pretty well solve that. I can cut it out later. This, I need to go check the other side and see how much I've got, because I don't want to cut into the frame. I want to cut it down flat with the trunk floor. If I have to, I'll have to cut this off of the Rambler and then plate it. I don't want to do that, but you know, if I have to do it, I have to do it. So let me take care of those two things and we'll be back. Skies are getting worse. Line there. Running out of time. Okay, so here's where we're at. This is the final position. You know what? I'm gonna put this thing on. Okay, ignore the jack. It's not actually doing anything. It's just sitting under there. You can see the Honda floor was a little higher, so I'll have to get creative there. But that's it. That's fitment. This is basically where it's going to sit. I think down the road I'll put coilover struts in it and maybe drop it a little bit, but at the very least that's where it's going to sit. And the rockers aren't super visible, not until you get way down there. I think I was off a little on my measurements somehow. I really thought that this lip was going to be farther in, but that's right where it needs to be. That is 61 inches. So I said I wasn't going to weld it, but there's enough stress on it pushing it apart. I was at 61 and 11/16 ish without the strap. So I'm going to go ahead and just tack these two front corners in place. The rear might need to come down a little. I don't think it does though. I think it's where it needs to be. And I still need to go over and just kind of maybe trim a little a couple little spots, like a little bit away from that seat bracket there. See, it's damn near touching. You know, just little things like that. Because that is probably going to get covered with carpet or the seat. You won't be able to even see that hole, but that hole will be there. It'll be filled with foam. That's what I'm going to do in areas that won't ever have any water in them. You can see it's sitting just about where it needs to be sitting. There's about 1/8 of an inch gap there. That's about it. I'm going to have to go over through on both sides here and raise this up a little bit. This side is pretty good, other than I need to get that little corner right here. That side, yeah, see a little bit on that side too. Just that front edge there. Same thing with the strut there. I need to raise the top of it. I might need to cut that little corner a little, maybe, and then knock that back down. Yeah, I mean, even if I had to weld it in this position, so we've got about 1/4 inch, if you can see there. It's about 1/4 inch higher in back than it is in front. I can live with that, especially on an old car like this where it's kind of semi-raked looking. But yeah, so I'm not going to start welding the whole thing together. I think when I do, I'm going to go ahead and leave this piece in, and I'll weld it, grind it, and then I'm going to put another piece over the top of it. It's going to come all the way, or at least, you know, to there. And then, of course, here I'll have to plate that to hide it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it completely, because the Honda plastics, which I need to use, will go around it for the B-pillar. I need to keep my eyes open for a 2-door Civic, because I think that's different. Or at the very least, if I find some guy flagging down and say, hey man, let me measure this. Kind of weird, but anyway. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and tack that and move on from there. I think everything else is right where it needs to be. I mean, as hard as this was, I think this is going to be easier than plating everything, because now I'm going to have to start making stuff. And it doesn't really have to be super clean looking, but it does have to be strong enough, and it does need to be weather tight. So we're going to be using lots of seam sealer. You know, I'm going to have to come down from up here to here, and then there. And so there, I think we might just get away with that. It's going to be tight, but I think we're going to get away with it. I still need to cut that lip out of there. That's roughly 1 inch of clearance I can gain. Yeah, but that is that's going to be tight. But yeah, I need to do all that stuff. I'm going to have to cap this, because what I'd really like to do, what I probably really need to do, is actually open this up and then come down over here. That way it can pull air in from here to there. Or I could do it from over here, because I think that's open too. That might actually be better over there. But yeah, that needs to be done. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get really creative. I'm gonna have to go around and trim all these edges here. You know, I got that lip right there where the battery is. You know, I need to get that cleaned up a little bit, give me a little more clearance for the battery. Got to move the fuse box. There we go. I got to move the fuse box. It sat underneath there, but I'm going to move it to over here. I think the power steering reservoir was in a bad spot. I mean, it's not hitting like I thought it was going to be, but it's going to be a pain in the ass to get fluid into it, let me tell you. But same, I got to get in here and trim all this. Trim this out. I was going to plate it to the end, which I may still do, but being that that's there, I might just open that up. Whew. and then I gotta figure something out for the hinges. I'm gonna plate everything first, so the hood will be one of the last things I actually do. This side I think is right. This side for some odd reason seems too far back. And I mean, it could be possible that the whole car is kind of Z'd, or that way. Like this side of the car is farther forward than that side, because the fenders are roughly where they're supposed to be, so I'm not exactly sure. And obviously it could just be the damn lower valance where it's bolted on, or even the damage that it has. But if we're gonna go off of, say, this little spot, you got about a quarter inch. That is touching, so this side's tighter. And I'll say, okay, well, that might actually be part of it. I don't know. We'll see. None of that stuff is set in stone yet anyway. And two, these fenders being so beat up, that could be a big part of the problem. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get this stuff tacked before the rain starts. And then I'll just start doing other things, checking things. I need to check the brackets that go on the rear parcel shelf, and for the back seat I want to check the dashboard, but I can do that when the car's parked. All kinds of little things I need to start checking to see what I'm going to have to do, but I'm going to get busy. All right, so I just went ahead and kind of temporarily hung the dash, and it's going to be a little bit of a problem. It's tight. Tight. So, I mean, I think I can get away from that with a steering wheel, which will kind of put it into my gut here. I need to figure something out. I wanted to run the Rambler steering wheel anyway, which will give me more clearance, but it's not an insurmountable thing. I can get past this. But, yeah, it's going to clear everything else, which is nice. And there's enough headroom. My head clears. So, yeah. Morning, it is Friday. I am heading to work. So, it didn't seem like I got a whole lot done. Of course, most of the work that I'm doing now is just super tedious. You know, I got to measure, cut. I need to get a hold of a bunch of cardstock or thin cardboard or poster board and make patterns to cut pieces out. But that's basically what it's going to be for the next couple of weeks, probably, is, you know, a whole lot of cutting, trimming, and then finally welding. On the welder, that welder doesn't work worth a damn. It never really has, and I'm not real happy. It had excellent reviews when I bought it. However, I've got, 023 wire in it. I went for the thinnest stuff so it wouldn't just go blow holes through things. And I think that might be my problem, because when the wire comes out of the tip, a lot of times it looks like a plasma cutter. It's just like a flame coming out of there. You don't even see the wire. And so I've been told, okay, turn your wire speed up, turn your power down. I've done that, and it seemed like it improved it some, but it still does it sometimes. And the other thing it'll do sometimes is, like, as soon as you hit that first arc, it'll melt all the way back up to the tip, and then it'll weld it to the tip, and then of course it wads it all up inside the welder, and I have to take it all apart and do that. Unfortunately, I bought the 10-pound spool of that stuff, so I think I need to go switch back to 30. And right now I'm debating in my head whether I should buy a 10-pound or if I should just buy a 2-pound, and if it works out well, then go to a 10-pound, which I think I probably will go ahead and do that, because I'll go through that 2-pounder pretty quick. My flux core has 30, and it worked great on the golf cart. But, you know, we didn't care about the golf cart. If the welds look like crap, who cares? You know, if they weren't that strong, who cares? It's a golf cart. This needs to be a lot more professional than that, and I care. So you can't use a flux core to do this. One, it'll blow holes right through that Honda metal, even though it'll weld the Rambler metal pretty well. But all the slag and spatter and grinding and cleanup, I mean, there's a lot of places that you can't get a grinder into. That's one of the reasons I got that little belt sander, although I just put a new belt on it, and now the belt's walking off the end of the pulley, and I don't know why. It's not bent, it's not loose. I don't think it's a belt. I even flipped the belt over. I don't know why. That really sucks because I need that. But anyway, yeah. So we need to get started. The next thing to do this next week is I'm going to go ahead and weld up the sills, the rockers, at the tops of the sills and rockers. I'm going to weld up the trunk. I'll probably leave the end cap of the trunk, and I'll do that afterward. But wheel wells will be welded. All that other stuff will be welded. The bottom of the sills, the Rambler rocker to the Honda rocker, there's a pretty good wavy gap in there. It's not even. I'll probably just take a piece of like 2-inch strip and bend it, whatever angle it needs to be, 45 or whatever, and then just tie the two of them together. But I'll do that like when I have a lift, or I can put it up on a lift. That'd be the best place to do that at, rather than laying on my back in the driveway trying to do it. So like I said, the first thing is get all those welds done, and then I need to do something about the front clip to basically sit the height of the front part of the fenders, because it's real flimsy. So I need to weld that up. I'm going to go ahead and unbolt the condenser and the radiator. I want to try to move them a little bit. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to, though, but an inch would buy me a lot. If not, then I can work around that. But I need to get something tied into the ends of those inner fenders, the Rambler inner fenders, to the Honda to keep it from moving around. So that's hopefully going to happen next week, and hopefully more than that. But at least if I get that done, then I'll go ahead and plate the inner kick panel from the Rambler to the Honda, and then I'll plate the outer kick panel. I'm going to go ahead where the wires came through the bottom part of the A-pillar to go to the door. I'm just going to cut that out and then cap it with a piece of metal. That way it has that perfect oval with the little lip on it. So when I transfer all that to the Rambler door, so I can have the power windows, I can just weld that piece into the Rambler door, and it'll be perfect for that rubber boot. But, that'll happen whenever. I'm going to cut it out, though, before I plate it, so I don't plate over it. I get those two tied in. That'll give us a lot of strength. Once all that's welded, then I can not be so nervous about jacking it up and tweaking the body, and, So, yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Like and subscribe, please. I'm pretty close to being monetized. I think if I could get monetized enough that I can do this full time, I could do a lot more stuff. Hell, even on the days when I don't feel like working on something here, I can go out to the junkyard and go get something running, But anyway, I gotta go to work. I'm late, and I'll talk to you guys later.